Welcome to week 3 of the PSPC Vlogger in Paradise Challenge. I'm Alexander. Figured I would take myself out onto the balcony this afternoon to do an intro for week 3 of the videos here, just because I figured I would put myself a bit outside of my comfort zone and risk embarrassing myself in front of my neighbors. Got the opportunity to talk to my father-in-law Mel today, and I really think that conversation went well. The conversations that we have and the advice that he's given me over the years has always been helpful, but specifically when it comes to poker, he's always gotten me to focus on my mental game and my focus at the table and things that I don't really get from other sources a lot of the time. So I really appreciate that from Mel, and find that the more I talk to him, the more aware I become sitting at the poker table, and that's really the goal of what I'm trying to accomplish, because everyone can implement standard strategies, but I think what really sets quality poker players apart is their ability to focus on their mental ability and really develop that skill. So I like how the videos turned out, and how Mel, he kind of looks like he's looking down on me, like he's kind of a protector and a guardian for me, which is definitely how I think of him in my life. And I hope you enjoy the short interview that we put together, and hopefully I'll see you again next week. Thanks. I guess the main reason that I wanted to talk to you specifically is I found it interesting how I guess a lot of the talk about poker and videos that I watch on YouTube, or there's a strategy website that I'm a part of and that kind of thing, they're very focused on just the math and the strategy. And whenever I've talked to you, it's always been about the mental aspect of the game, and my focus at the table, and those more sort of mental aspects that I feel like don't really get talked about as much. And so I guess I'm just curious kind of how that came about when you were playing poker in the past, and what you might have recognized in me that you felt like that was a necessary component to introduce into my thought process.
Right. Well, the math and the strategy and the cards you're dealt is out of your control. You don't have any control over that. The only thing you can control is your being, your mindset, your emotions, your excitement, your I guess fear of losing a pot. Those are all things that you, as a poker player, or any poker player, is in control of. So that's why it's so important, is to center yourself when you're playing. And with everything that was happening in your life when you started poker, I felt it was necessary for you to relax and understand who you are.
Yeah, because and like you talk about meditation and like just being centered and aware when you're at the table. I guess there was a situation that came up a couple of weeks ago where you had given me a call, and I happened to be at the poker table, and like right after our call, I sat back down at the table. I got dealt 2 kings, and the hand went in such a way that I ended up all in and losing to pocket aces. And your immediate comment was, like you need to stay focused. You need to shut out any distractions when you're at the table. And I guess my thought, whether it's naive to think so or whatever it is, my thought is kind of like, well, I feel like the hand might have just gone the same way, whether or not
I had taken that call from you or not. And so I guess like I'm just curious if you could elaborate more on kind of what you're thinking there.
Well, the guy sitting with pocket aces, you probably were distracted just enough to throw you off to watch and see how he reacted and how his betting, if his betting had changed from a hand, the previous hand, or 3 hands ago, or the last time he won. Like, these are all things you have to take into consideration when you're sitting at a poker table, because if you can't read the guy next to you, or you're at the table, I should say, you are not, it doesn't matter what the math tells you, if you don't watch the guy betting and folding when he folds, and what's on the table, and previous hands that he wins, because I'm sure guys aren't stupid enough to flip the cards up and show you, oh, I fold, you know. So this all comes into consideration if you're going to be, you know, a half-decent poker player. And it's very important. And as soon as you lose concentration, it's gone. You have to center yourself again. And the best way to do that is probably, you know, skip a hand, skip 2 hands, whatever, until you feel you're back in the game and there's nothing distracting you. Any thought comes in, you know, the weather, or somebody's making noise, or somebody's talking at the table. You have to learn how to shut all of that out. And once you're able to do that, then you're in a spot where things will flow for you.
Yeah. Because ultimately it's about, like you say, being focused and just being able to maintain and even keel and not get overwhelmed by things, and that's something that I'm kind of struggling with right now, especially just because the past 4 or 5 sessions that I've had have been losing ones, and so I'm kind of in this negative mindset and not feeling necessarily all that motivated, and you know, not playing the way that I normally would, because I'm kind of scared of you know, continuing to lose. Like I was in a situation on Thursday where a guy bluffed me out of a huge pot where I would have ended up making a $900 profit on the session, and I ended up losing $163 because I wasn't able to connect to observing his behavior and recognizing that it was indicating that he was bluffing, as opposed to that he had the straight that I was afraid that he had. And I was so stuck in my head of thinking, like, I don't want to lose this extra $400 that I have in front of me, so I'd rather just fold.
When you sit down at a table, and if you have $100 or $1,000, don't even think dollars. Don't even think about it. Just think about winning the hand. Don't think about the size of the jackpot. Don't think how much money you lost. Don't think about how much money you won. Just center yourself on the cards that you need. That's it. That's all. Because as soon as you start worrying and thinking about money, you're going to lose. You're it's the mental attitude. If you're going to think anything about money, think that you're going to win.